Recorded live with little or no editing, it's Roster Roast. Today we're going to be going over Commander Matt's defensive war teams. Now, last week I mentioned a little bit about beginning, mid, and end game play strategies in war, and I want to reiterate on that this week to let you know, if you're just starting out, like if you just unlocked war, you're not building defensive teams. Do not bother. You need to focus on building at least 5 offensive teams. And then once you get 5 built, then you should be putting in 2 defensive teams. My recommendations are try for Marauders and Mercs, but that may not be an option for you that early in the game, but those are the 2 most effective defensive teams right now. But when you first start playing, don't worry about building a defensive team. You're not going to be able to put up anything that's going to slow anybody down. So just work on your offensive teams. You don't really need to build 8 defensive teams until way late in the game, and then you're going to be bringing them up and making some nice meta teams. And finally, when your alliance is starting to go to full clear, then you're going to be building hybrid defensive teams. So for the purposes of today's roast, we're going to be looking at meta teams and how Matt should have built his, and we grade A to F based on who you're using, their power levels, their positioning, and their ISO 8. So let's jump into it. First up, we have... Whoa. This is a garbage team. Okay, apparently Matt is taking something off of his roster that has some decently high power levels and throwing them in there. Because Wakanda isn't. They just aren't. They're terrible. They're terrible in every mode. They're supposed to be good in raid. Obviously, we know they're not. So he threw in Gamora with them. Gamora's supposed to be a damage dealer, and she isn't. She's a glass water pistol. This team is just horrible all around. You're missing ISO 8s. Your power levels on your protector are so low, he's going to die off real fast. Sure, he's way up in power because you're using her someplace else. Obviously, what you're doing here is you're just taking some mediocre players and putting them on a junk team, which is better than shield guards. It does require somebody to come in here with a little bit of a power level, but if they're paying attention, they realize they can punch way up on this team. Like, you could probably come in with 180k, almost anything with synergy, and punch up on this team. You're just kind of working around Shuri's heals. I'm gonna give this one. I mean, I'm not even going to rate on ISOs or anything. I'm going to give this one a D because I know what you're doing. You need to get a team in here, though. Yeah. This is. I think you can come up with better garbage than this garbage team. Team number 2. This is the Inhumans without Black Bolt. Now, what's going on, Matt? Have you not unlocked Black Bolt yet? And if you did, he should be on offense, not defense. Now, this team does work as a defensive team in the way you've got it set up with Drax in there being the taunt, because Crystal's going to keep them alive and give them some sustainability. Your power levels are pretty wonky. You need to bring Quake up so that she's landing some of those debuffs. I mean, Karnak at 37k? Why? He should be the least. He's the least important one on the team. And he works a lot better with Black Bolt, too. So unlock Black Bolt, get him into this team and put this team on offense. Honestly, this kind of upsets me because you should be using him on offense. So I'm giving you a D- on this one. It's better than shield guards, but this is a terrible waste of resources. Team number 3, Asgardians. Now, me and the rest of the Alliance have been using Drax in place of Thor on this team with a totally different positioning setup than what you've got going on here. If I were you, I would swap Sif and Thor and then replace Thor with Drax. Putting Drax on this team instead of your Inhumans is going to protect him from the symbiotes a lot better. And the other thing you can do is you can get rid of your Asgardians altogether and put Hela and Loki on your Merc team with the 3 core Merc players. Now, I've been getting a lot of defensive victories from that team. Their opener just destroys anybody. So, for this, though, let's grade the Asgardians as is. You're missing ISOs. That's huge. You could put the first level of ISOs on these guys and get a lot more value out of them. You've got Raider on Thor, that's correct. You've got Skirmisher on Hela. You could go... See, and here's something that Commander Tom pointed out to me last week. You could put Skirmisher on Loki and Stryker on Hela, and Loki places the vulnerability on his opening move, and then Hela's going to go twice and almost for sure kill the first person that she goes when she spreads all those negative effects. So get Skirmisher on Loki, get Stryker on Hela, put your other ISOs on these guys. Probably just go with Healer on these. They don't need Fortifier. You could do Raider on Heimdall. He has a lot of area effect and adjacent attacks. I'm going to give you a C- for this team. The symbiotes are going to walk right over him. Plus, your power level's low. So, yeah, with this setup, the placement works on a C-. I'd like to see you just break this team up and do something else. They've just fallen off so much that you kind of have to go with a hybrid version of them now. Okay, a Hero Brawler team. It's Garbage Brawlers is what we're calling this one. Garbage Brawlers for sure. Ouch. Wolverine on the Hero Brawler team. These guys, this is just terrible. You need to get Squirrel Girl up and running. Get her in there so she can help keep them alive. You need to have Miss Marvel is supposed to be Skirmisher and everybody else is Stryker. And then make sure to get her T4 in there so that when they attack, she assists and then they counterattack and you get a triple hit off of every player. Yeah. I don't like this. Your placement doesn't matter so much on this team, although Miss Marvel needs to be on the end. The rest really doesn't matter because she's going to be doing some taunting. So your placement sucks. You're missing ISOs. You've got the wrong people in here. Your power levels are all over the place. This is another... It just looks like you're using garbage out of your roster and throwing them into a Hero Brawler team. And we all used to do that. It's just there's a way better way of doing it in this day and age. What are you doing with Squirrel Girl? Where is she? Yeah, this is a D- again. It's as close as you get to needing shield guards in here. Team 5. I hate when you guys use great offensive teams on defense. This just pisses me off. Okay. You've got good power levels. You've got the Brotherhood 2.0, which is a great version. Again, you should be using them for offense. At this 350 level, they're crushing so many different teams. You know? Get some red stars on some of your guys that you don't have as much control over. Let's take a look at placement. You're giving your deflects to Juggernaut and Toad. I prefer, actually... I prefer getting Magneto and Pyro adjacent to Blob because they're the weak ones. They need those deflects. But, you know, there's strategies to be said about this, so I'm not going to dock you for that. I just don't like it. Let's see. Stryker on Blob? Is that because he's counterattacking and you're just going for the added damage? You've got Skirmisher on Magneto. He's supposed to be Raider. He's got adjacent all over the place. You can do Raider on Toad. That's okay. And I like Stryker on Pyro because he does have that added stuff to his basic attack. You don't need Fortifier on a tank. Most tanks survive long into the match and they don't need it. Put Healer on him. Put Healer on Blob too. Get those guys a little bit more sustainability. The team isn't designed to stay alive very long, but they need every little bit that they can. So, all in all, I'm giving you a straight up F for this team because this team needs to be on offense. This is an absolute disgrace, wasteful use of your resources. They're going to get one defensive victory and that's it. They will not get a second one. Yeah, do something with that. All right, a Merc team. Here we go. We got a Merc team. You got your 3 core Mercs and you're using Bullseye and Killmonger. Now, this is a great setup for putting Skirmisher on Taskmaster and Stryker on almost everybody else. Maybe putting Healer on Merc Lieutenant or Merc Riot Guard if you want. But getting Stryker on those other guys for those triple hit combos. Although your Taskmaster is super weak, so you got to bring up his power levels. Personally, I'd take that big ass Shuri. Take that Shuri off of this team this 98k Shuri, take her off of the team and put her back on here in place of Bullseye, and then bring up the power levels of the other guys. She's going to have synergy with Killmonger. You need to get some stars on this Taskmaster. Go ahead and spend some of those silver promo credits on it. He's a good player, and if you want that defense, then that's what you're going to have to do. You're missing ISO 8s. The placement, I like putting your Riot Guard in the middle with Taskmaster on the side. So yeah, you're going to go Killmonger, Bullseye, Lieutenant, Merc Riot Guard, and then Taskmaster for your placement. I mean, this is a team that you're supposed to use. It's good people. Your placement is close. You have no ISOs, and your power levels are really far off. This is a D+. Moving on. Marauders. Whoops, my screen's going crooky on me. Marauders, and we got a nice overall power level on here. I'd like you to bring up your Emma. You're probably working on that during this event. Sinister's looking nice. Your Strife needs to be brought up. Yeah, Sabretooth should not be the most powerful on this team. It should be Emma, Sinister, and Strife all at near power levels at the top, and then you have your other two, your old Brotherhood teammates. Bring them in. Let's see. You have Skirmisher on Emma. Is that to clear more things? I don't know why you're doing that. Have her as healer. She's got a thick health bar. Sinister is healer. Good. You've got Raider on Sabretooth. That's good. Skirmisher on Mystique is okay. You could also do Raider on her. And then Strife. Now Strife is one of the only protectors that you could put Fortifier on, because he is already relying on a barrier mechanic so much that actually that plays into his skill set. He's one of the few that you could do that for. As for, you have him on Skirmisher though. No, go with Healer or Fortifier on him. Your placement is okay, although I think you should switch Sabretooth and Mystique. That way Mystique doesn't lose her deflects, and then Sinister can spread those around. Placement subpar. Your ISOs aren't great. You do have decent power levels. You're using the right team. I'm going to give you a C+ for this. And finally, your defenders. I've told you this before. Putting this much power into defenders is like putting a $30,000 system into a Pinto. Yeah, this just isn't. It's a terrible waste of resources. But hey, you were doing what you were doing. I think you should take Punisher off of this team and put Ultron on this team and take them into offense and use them against Marauder teams. Or maybe you could switch Luke Cage out for Ultron also. That would also work. This team is just... Man. Okay, let's take a look, though. Striker for Punisher, that's good. Healer for Iron Fist, that's good. Fortifier on a tank, you don't need it right there. Put Healer on him, I guess. He's not making a lot of moves. Doesn't really matter what you put on him. Raider for Daredevil, good. And Skirmisher. Yeah, she's clearing buffs. That's okay. That's okay. I like your placement. I like Daredevil next to Luke Cage so that he's taking hits and causing Punisher to pop off. So, I mean, if you're going to use this team on defense, I like what you've done with them. I like their power levels, their placement, all that stuff. I just would rather see them on offense, and I would rather see you not put any more effort into this team. My God, 467K. They're getting killed by a 300K team. So I'm going to give you, I mean, I hate to say this, but I'm going to give you a B-. I think last time I gave you a C+, but yeah, and you haven't done anything since the last time with them, but yeah, I'll give you a B-. You've got the right ISOs on them now, so there you go. All right, this has been Commander Matt's roster roast. If you like what you saw, please like or subscribe. There's links in the description below. And I stream every Monday from 9 to noon on Twitch. You can catch me there where we do more roster roasts and just general tomfoolery. So thanks for joining us.